started a farm brewery because we wanted to return beer to its agricultural roots. You go to a brewery and you're in an industrial area and you forget that beer comes from a farm. So we wanted to bring beer back to the farm. We wanted to, we grow hops out there, we grow barley, so you could actually see your ingredients before.
That's interesting. So you do grow some of your own.
We do grow some of our own. We try to do about 2 estate beers a year where everything in the beer comes from the farm.
We as woodworkers enjoy our work, but sometimes we're our worst critics. But occasionally you run across someone in their line of work is a real artist. So when you do that, an artist is a person who has passion about his work, is dedicated, and is very creative. Well, I ran into just such a person, John Schneider. He's a real artist, but his medium is not woodworking, it's making beer. Now, I understand this video is a little bit outside of my normal woodworking or DIY or gardening videos. At the end of the day, I enjoy a cold beer, and I suspect you do too. So let me introduce you to John Schneider, a Sideways Farm and Brewery outside of Hendersonville, North Carolina.
I think that's one I'm going to take the principal for tonight.
That's my favorite.
Oh, there he's make sure everybody can hear.
It's perfect. You're perfect. You're pouring it. I'm going to go on the other side. Oh, hey, I've got something ready to take.
Why's a double, John?
It's a Belgian style beer in which they would double up the ingredients to brew a more powerful beer. It's basically it.
Bought John a homebrew kit for Christmas.
Okay, so some of these have been out before.
Was that a mistake?
About 13 years ago, and it knocked our life sideways, hence the name Sideways. It took over everything.
All right, this is the family.
This is the family.
Well, we're missing
A Sideways Farm and Brewery in Etowah, North Carolina. Who's the master brewer here?
Hello, I'm John Schneider, and our brewery is called Sideways Farm and Brewery. It's located in western North Carolina in a small town called Etowah. The family-run environment. I've got my son here and my wife, as well as my mother-in-law camped out over by the register. We are, like I said, a small farm brewery. We have a 3.5 barrel system that produces around 108 gallons at a time. We brew 150 barrels a year, all different styles. I love traditional beers. I love wild beers. I love historic beers. So we try to touch on all of those and provide beer that everyone can enjoy, and it's really approachable.
What's a wild beer versus a farm beer?
A wild beer is something that you use wild yeast in. We harvest yeast from the farm to ferment some of our beers, and we consider them wild because the yeast is wild. It's in the air, it's on plants, it's on flowers, it's on our honeybees that we have out there. And those are the wild beers. Farm beers, I can use a commercial strain of yeast and just use some farm ingredients in it, whether that be herbs, spices. We grew coriander this year, so that's gone into a beer. Actually, that went into the Belgian white.
So one thing that's unique about this brewery and farm is they grow some of their own ingredients to include in their beverages that they brew. Now that's neat. Or we would say that's cool. Or some of my younger viewers would say, that's awesome.
It's the same type of barley every year. They use the same seed.
They do not. They've got a few different kinds, and then when they malt it, we would get all different kinds, all different taste flavors out of that.
We've been in business for 3 years. We have brewed approximately 135 different beers, different different recipes. We have brewed some of those multiple times, like our Dark Check Lager. We're on 92.1, so that beer has been brewed 2 times. The Belgian Double's been brewed 2 times, so sometimes we do recreate beers. Money Lager's another one that's been brewed a couple of times.
After like a year of home brewing, he got on a waiting list to go back to school for brewing science and engineering. Right now, every other community college in the country has such a degree, but at that time there were only 3 schools. And there was a school in Vermont that let him do it long distance, but it had a 2-year waiting list. So he graduated from that in 2014, and we bought this farm in 2015.
Give me a little background about how you got forced into this slave labor.
So,
Child
I think
labor.
15, I just gotten back from a trip from Universal, and Dad asked me if I wanted to live here for a day. And that turned into a week, which,
Okay.
I brewed my first beer at 15 here, and it hasn't stopped since.
What do you enjoy about brewing?
I like the smells of it. It smells amazing, like all brew day, the grain, everything about it. The fermentation, it just smells so good.
So this is our little brew area. This is our brew deck over here. It's a 3-vessel system. And like I said earlier, we do 108 gallons or 3.5 barrels at a time. And then once we're finished brewing, we actually put them in the fermenters to ferment it out. And fermentation creates alcohol and CO2. And you can look in this bucket right now. It's just all CO2 popping out of that. In those fermenters over there, we do some open fermentation, where we get some of that wild yeast from the farm to kind of go through and seed itself on top of the beer, and then we seal it up and let magic happen.
So, John, where can the beer lover find your beer?
Right now, we are exclusively out of the brewery. So it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Hours are online, and you can come and enjoy the beer here, and also take some to go home. Here is where we're going to really make our money back on the beer. We don't brew a volume high enough to actually do well in retail outlets. So we're at that sweet spot where we could brew 100% of our beer and have it actually move right here in the tap room.
So if you live in the Carolinas, or sometimes you're on vacation near Hendersonville, be sure and stop by in Etowah, North Carolina. Enjoy yourself a cold beer at Sideways Farm and Brewery. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on a small brewery making craft beer. And if you want to see some more of these visits to other little places that make fine quality craft beer, be sure and send me a thumbs up, or better yet, send me one of these, a beer emoji, and I'll know you'd like to see more of this fine discovery of places you can go enjoy a cold one. So you've earned it, my friend.